Hello, welcome back. My name is Jesse, and this is part 3 of demonic upbringing. Now, I'm actually starting to write notes now because uh, I missed some things in part 2 that I should have brought up. Namely, being worship. Okay, I was raised in a rock and roll household, and that too became my flavor. Now, what's important here is that what you sing out with the breath in your lungs that God gave you is can be used for good or bad. I mean, this music that I was listening to, that I enjoyed, I was singing out and I was worshiping bad things. All right? And I would still continue to bounce, although not force. I wouldn't crack my head. I would bounce to the rhythm of the music and just belt it out. Almost always with headphones on. Or I was self-conscious of my own voice. So I'd sing with headphones on and just crank the volume. I mean, it would be at max. And just boom. And I'd just be singing it out and enjoying it, you know? And so that happened all the way up until the 8th grade where I moved into the new house. And at that time, I was like trying to find who I was, my own identity more. And I had a relative that, up until that point, it was mostly heavy rock from the 70s area and rock from 80s. And this relative introduced me to, because he used to listen to it and I looked up to him. And it was Iron Maiden, metal. That was my first introduction to metal music. So I claimed Iron Maiden as my own. That's mine. So yeah, he pirated a tape. Back in the days when you could copy cassette tapes one to another, and he made me a copy, and man, I just fell in love with that. And I listened to that over and over and over, and would just belt it out, and then I became a metal fan, and that stayed with me through most of my life. My brand of music was metal. I listened to the other stuff here and there, and some of it I would like, but metal was mine. So yeah, that's really important, what you're praising, okay? So during the time in this high school, as I said, I started to drift off. Like, I wasn't a good student. Uh, I wasn't getting outside as much anymore, and I was worshiping this dark music and stuff, and all that's playing a factor. I'm slowly detaching from a good life, you know. And it's also worth pointing out that early in my youth, I was introduced to like role playing through my older brother, and the favorite of that time was Dungeons and Dragons. And it sounds harmful or harmless enough and all that, but I mean, look into it. Okay, I'm a firm believer that it is witchcraft. There's lots of resource material out there. Go look it up. I'm not going to explain anything more than that. Just know that it opens doors. So that, coupled with demonic worship, and me, even though I'm in a Christian school, I'm not following Christ. I'm not going to church. My family's not going to church. Just getting farther and farther away from God, right? By my own conscious choice. So in my 10th grade of high school, I got sick and tired of taking the bus to go to the other school. Like I said, I was sleeping a lot, skipping a lot of school. I was getting in a lot of trouble at school, not with the other students, just with not attending. So, like, I think it was my 10th grade, I missed like 100 days of school to stay at home, play video games, and sleep, you know? And then I decided to go to a public school, which was a lot closer. I didn't have to take the bus. I could walk to school, which I did all through elementary school. I rode my bicycle to school, walked to school, and I loved that freedom. I would come home from lunch in elementary school and watch shows. I'd watch like The Price is Right. I used to love it, and that was great. That was a break from school. So I started going to this public school, and of course there's no Christianity there. It's public. Nobody's talking about God or anything like that, and I know less people there, so I'm getting more and more secluded, and yeah, it was starting to get darker and darker and darker. So I think I'm 15 at this point, And my older brother joins a local reservist unit, joins the army. And he can't come home from one exercise, and he was just complaining about how hard it was and how tired it was. And I was like, you're just a big wuss. You know, that can't be that hard. And he's like, oh yeah, it is. Maybe when you get old enough, you join, and we'll see how well you do. And I was like, yeah, I'll do it. I'll join, and I'll do better than you. You know, so the challenge was accepted. So skipped a lot of school, all that stuff. Nothing good. No direction either. I never had any direction in my life. I was always flew by the seat of my pants. I had no aspirations. I didn't look to the future. I took each day as it came. Yeah. So that pretty dark. I hit 18. Okay, I'm basically flunking out of school. Like, it's not looking good for me. And they offered a high school co-op program to get credits by going to this local reserve basic course. So I took the basic course. It was second semester, I believe from February up until June. And I would get 2 credits for completing this course. And my brother says, there you go, there's your opportunity. You said you were going to do it, let's see you do it. And I was like, okay. No, I'm freaking out inside. I'm scared. This is the army, man. I can't possibly do this. Like, I didn't think he was going to hold me to it, but my pride wouldn't let me get out of that agreement. So I did it. And I mean, it was probably the first biggest decision I'd ever made in my life. And it definitely took the most courage to do. So I joined, went through basic training, 6 months worth. Now, I mean, it wasn't like the actual army. This is a reservist unit. So I would go from, I believe it was 11 o'clock in the morning until, 3:30 in the afternoon every day. But I would go home and sleep in my own bed. So really, I got the best of both there. Thank the Lord. I don't know if I would have been able to hack. Hold on. I probably would have been able to hack. I just say that I can't. But it was good because I got to sleep in my own bed and go and do that. Now, during all that, my parents are getting a divorce. And that was really hard on me. Mostly selfish. I think it was hard on all of us. My older brother was my mother's favorite. My younger brother was my dad's favorite. I'm your classic black sheep, right in the middle, you know, middle kid syndrome. And I was like, what's going to happen now? So in between that course, my parents get divorced. We relocate to a very tiny apartment. I'm learning how to be a soldier. I'm just trying to pass the course, you know. And it wasn't until near the end of that course that I started to feel kind of competent. And turns out I did really, really, really well. I mean, I don't remember exactly how many. We say that's 30 people on that course, and I came in at number 3 out of 30. So I was like, wow, maybe I am good at something, because it certainly wasn't school. Wow. But I also applied myself too. I took like the Forrest Gump approach, which was just do whatever they tell you to do and do it to the best of your ability. And it really worked for me. I really jived with it. So, of course, my brother was proud. You know, we're both in the same unit and whatnot, and he paved the way for me. That probably helped a lot as well. You know, he'd already been in for a few years now, and they knew who he was, and they knew what he was all about. So that really helped usher me in. You know, so that was really good. Yeah. Where am I going with this? God brings everything. Everything is to prepare you for Him, so long as you seek Him, and He'll grow you, and He'll show you these things. If you're coming late, like I did, He'll show you all the times that He was there for you. So yeah. Okay, I'll comprise some more notes, and I'll be back for part 4. I hope you're getting something out of this. Be blessed in Jesus' holy name.